Hello and welcome to another edition of Motor Cars Enthusiasts. Right off the bat on today's show, we've got a lot of teaser stuff. A lot of different manufacturers showing off machines ahead of their official debuts. And that includes Honda's flagship machine, the Honda Accord. They're teasing this vehicle only weeks away from its official debut, so we'll know a whole lot more coming very soon. Going a little bit more upmarket, that being the folks over at Jaguar. Jaguar is showing off the brand new E-Pace. Think of this as the little brother of the F-Pace, which will be debuting in the next several weeks. Another machine that's being teased, even though we're going to tell a little bit of backstory, that being from the folks over at Hennessy. Hennessy is a group down in Texas, does a lot of tuner work to a number of different manufacturers from all over the planet. And then they kind of shocked the world when they took an Exige, lengthened it, widened it, put a twin turbocharged V8 out back, making an insane amount of power. The Venom GT could actually reach top speed numbers approaching Bugatti Veyron territory. And now Hennessy has got his sights square on the brand new Chiron from Bugatti. What they've done is spun off a section of the company that is Hennessy to build the first ever teaser photograph, being this one. And this machine is going to be a Hennessy product through and through. Even though they may outsource things like the brakes, suspension, some of the engine transmission parts, but the bulk of this thing, the spine of it, the bodywork and everything, is all going to be done by Hennessy's group. So it's kind of cool that we're going to get to see a little bit of the shots of this thing. It's got an interesting name too. It's going to be called the Hennessy F5. F5, F being for the Fujita scale, which actually is a scale for measuring the type of damage that tornadoes can actually produce, which is an interesting way of doing this. It's going to be named after damage. Granted, an F5 tornado is the most powerful tornado there can be in existence, so naming it after something that powerful, especially because Texas is in a little bit of the Tornado Alley, along with Motorcars HQ, which is in a section of offshoot section of Tornado Alley, so I know a lot of what tornadoes can actually produce. So it'd be interesting to see. We're going to may get to see this vehicle by late 2017, so maybe in only a handful of months' time. Next up on the list, official information about the Viper. Auto Forecast Solutions is reporting that the very last Viper will roll off the assembly line on August 16th of 2017, which is a little bit of a sad situation. But when I did a little digging on the production numbers of this vehicle, oddly enough, the only Viper I've ever driven was in 1994. Now, 1994 was an interesting year because it was the highest production ever done in the Viper's existence. And they only built just a touch over 3,000 units. In fact, a decade later, in 2004, was the second highest, where they only built a little under 2,500 units. There was a lot of years that they didn't even build 1,000. So maybe more interesting, or a little bit less sad that this vehicle's going away, but maybe really happy that it lasted this long, which is pretty impressive. So sad to see the Viper go, but it's an interesting story nonetheless. Last up on the list, we got a long, convoluted story. At least that's the way I'm going to do it. And it comes from the folks over at topspeed.com, where they're reporting a way that FCA is going to try to keep dealerships that get allocations for the brand new Dodge Demon from upcharging the machine, basically selling it way over the manufacturer's suggested retail price, aka the MSRP, aka the sticker price. And it brought to mind a lot of other manufacturers who've tried to do this. Most notably, we think about Ferrari. When the F60, aka the Enzo, first came out, you basically had to own a handful of Ferraris, and then Ferrari had to pick you. That was the reason why when Ferrari sold the Enzo for the first time to those prospective customers, a lot of those flipped the cars for 2 and 3 times the price that they actually bought them for. You think about the Ford GTs and the same mantra. We basically had to fill out an application. The new GT, they're basically taking the dealer upsale out of the equation altogether, where you basically do the deal with Ford Motor Company, and all the dealership does is does delivery and the paperwork on the vehicle. What FCA is going to do is something a little bit more interesting. What they've done is if you, the dealership, gets an allocation to get a brand new Demon, they're going to pay close attention to what you sell the car for. Now, you do have to jump through a handful of hoops. What is your sales numbers, how many Hellcats you've sold in the past 12 months, and some other odds and ends. But if you get that allocation for a Demon, if you sell it for the MSRP or the sticker price or even lower, you're going to be put on a list to get other special edition models from FCA. Meaning that if you gouge the customer, for the lack of a better term, and do a big upsale on the machine, that basically is going to lower you down on this list, giving you a less likelihood of getting these special edition models, which could be coming down the pike. Let's say in a couple of years, they decide to do the Demon treatment to the Charger instead of the Challenger. If you sold the vehicle for the MSRP or sticker price, you are going to be high up on the list to get one of those machines. Because the trick is, the Demon is a pretty rare bird, only 3,300 built for the world, or basically for North America. And this got me thinking about all the price gouging we've seen dealerships do over the years. The aforementioned Viper. The first go-round of the Viper, they only built 285 units, and after about 200 were sent out to dealer networks, Chrysler looked into the information they had on their books, showing that a lot of those dealerships, in fact the bulk of them, still had the Viper sitting on the lot wanting $100,000, $200,000 for those machines, and they came down on their dealer network hard and told them, you have to get these into people's hands. We don't want them lounging around on your dealer lots. We want these into customers and enthusiasts' hands. Then I think about the Evolution 8 from Mitsubishi. It was the first time the Evo ever came to the United States, and there were a lot of reports that dealerships were charging double for the car. We've also heard a lot of rumors about that, about the new Civic Type R. There's been a lot of rumors that in the American market, there's some dealerships asking for 30 grand over the top. I even think about something maybe as lowly as the Ford Raptor, the F-150 Raptor. The first second-gen Raptor to ever reach the local dealership in the town that I work in. When I went to check that vehicle out, they had a very basic, bone basic F-150 Raptor, and it just cost $50,000. I thought it was a pretty good deal. But they had a little sticker on there that showed what they were calling like a market correction or a market price value of another $10,000 they wanted over the sticker price. And then I think about the biggest gouge of all time, because you can always remember those people talking about undercoating, how they used to undercoat everything and charge a big amount of money. I can remember a car, I wish I could remember what kind of car it was, but I just remember getting up and looking at the window sticker to see a small sticker alongside that said pinstriping. An extra $1,200. Yes, $1,200. I didn't even realize the car had pinstriping on it. But here they were going to try to sell you $1,200 worth of pinstriping. I'd have paid them $100 just to take it off of there, I guess. So, interesting story. It'll be interesting to see whether this FCA deal works. It's going to be even more interesting to hear what those upcharges and some of those dealerships decide to say, screw it, we're going to sell it for as much money as we can get their hands on. Which, you know what, in the end, that's just modern day life. In fact, everyday life. If somebody's going to give you way over what you think something's worth, why not take it? So we'll see if this deal works for FCA. And that's all there was that I thought was worth talking about for this edition of Motor Cars Enthusiasts. Don't forget to like us over on the Facebook page. Links down in the show notes. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to the channel, you can do so at any time. Get the first dibs on the brand new shows as soon as they come out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again real soon.